see a great crowd here tonight. These are the people that believe in him, and that's what's going to carry him into the presidency of the United States. He believes in the Constitution. That's why I support Ron Paul, not just because he's a veteran. He is a #1 American, and he's going to fight for us.
I did 5 years in the Army. I was with the 101st Airborne Division, and I did 2 tours in Iraq, and I did 1 tour in Afghanistan. And while I was proud to fight for my country, I kept wondering what I was doing over there. When I got off the plane in Afghanistan, they told me I'm not there to fight, I was there to teach. And I was an infantryman and a scout, and I didn't understand why they wanted me over there if I wasn't there to fight. And Ron Paul believes that if we go over there, we have a clear mission, and we do it and then come back home. And that would have came in handy for me and all the people that were in my unit to know what our mission actually was, to be able to accomplish it and then come back home and have pride in what we did.
What do you tell people when they say that they like Ron Paul but not on foreign policy? Have you run into that?
It actually irritates me quite a bit because most of those people that don't like it don't understand it. They don't know what the Constitution says, and the majority of them have never done any time in the military whatsoever. They don't know what it's like to leave friends and family to go overseas to fight. And I tell them that his foreign policy is the best because not only is it constitutional, it makes more sense from the standpoint, why wouldn't you want a clear-cut mission and to know who your enemies actually are? Because when I was deployed, you say we were fighting Al-Qaeda or terrorists, but you don't know who that is. And we had our hands tied behind our back every time. It was all political even then, from the get-go. It was all political, and then you do away with that and get the political correctness back out of the military. Well, my thing on Iran is, if Iran tried telling us we couldn't have nuclear weapons, we wouldn't like it. So why are we trying to tell them they can't? They have that right. But I think personally we should keep an eye on them and monitor it. But a lot of people saying we should take care of Iran because of Israel. Well, I'm a Christian, and I'm all for supporting Israel. The Bible says that God and Jesus is Israel's Savior, not America. We need to remember that. We need to focus on our own problems we have here at home.
Yeah, I'm county co-chairman for Dickinson County, which is up in Spirit Lake, Okoboji, Iowa.
How far away did you come from?
Well, it took me about, I'd say about 4.5 hours from northwest Iowa. We're sitting right on the Minnesota border. Ron Paul's got about 71% of the donations from all the military guys, both active duty, National Guard, and veterans organizations. And we're proud of that as a veteran. Since World War II, started with the Korean War, which was a war basically declared by the United Nations, we've never had a declared war. Vietnam was not a declared war. All these wars we've been fighting have never been authorized by the Congress of the United States.
And when people say they're afraid of Iran?
Iran? I'm not too sure about being scared of a little puppet dictator over there. I think we should just keep our nose out of everybody else's business. I'm very much in agreement with Ron Paul on that particular subject. And that's how I explain it to people, just undeclared wars.
Are you guys ready for the caucus?
Definitely. We're ready to go.
Yeah? Are you going to speak?
Oh, yes, I am. I got my 3-minute speech ready.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We have a great turnout. We have a great turnout to honor and salute the veterans of the great state of Iowa. My name is Drew Ivers. I live in Webster City, about an hour north of Des Moines. I served in Vietnam drafted in 1968, out in 1970, a combat soldier in the infantry. And the rest of our group up here are also all veterans, and the program is an honor to veterans, by veterans, and of course, the veteran we're going to honor the most tonight will be our special guest that we will introduce a little later.
I want to salute every military veteran here this evening who is presently wearing the uniform of the United States of America or who has worn that uniform in the past in defense of our Constitution. You deserve to be honored. Veterans, we salute you. Give them a hand.
With your help and hard work, the next President of the United States, Ron Paul.
There's something seriously wrong with our foreign policy. There's something seriously wrong with our economy. And of course, we all know there's something seriously wrong with our monetary system and seriously wrong with our Federal Reserve system. For many years, young men and women have been called to service. Some of us have been drafted, others have joined with the purpose of providing defense for this country. But because so many of our young people have in the past and currently joined to defend this country, they can become disillusioned if they find out that the fighting and the killing and the spending of the money doesn't provide national defense, that we're not under threat, that sometimes we go looking for trouble and putting our troops in harm's way unnecessarily. I maintain that a president should never take a country to war unless there is a declaration of war and fight in the war. My suggestion is to look carefully at our foreign policy and question whether or not we should be in 130 countries and have 900 bases. I say that's way too many. It's time to come home from most of those places. We have problems here at home. We're spending too much money overseas. We're getting in too much trouble. Our obligation is to take care of the people here at home a long time before we ought to be the policemen of the world. You have to give up so much of your liberties to be safe? That's nonsense. You don't have to give up any liberties to be safe. We are very much engaged right now in bailing out Europe. And we're doing this through the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve does it off the books. They don't even get audited. Until we can get rid of the Fed, we at least ought to know exactly what they're doing, and Congress ought to force them to tell us what they're doing. I don't think for a minute that it's going to be easy, but I know one thing. If we don't put our mind to it and work our way out of this, and we just go along with the status quo and continue to do things we're doing right now, believe me, it's worth the fight, because that would be very bad. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to ask you for some help for. But we don't need the status quo. We need to restore the greatness of America, the greatness of American freedom, and the wonderful country that we live in. Thank you very much.
Ron Paul, my hero, and I hope it is yours as well.
Isn't that impressive? A man can stand up, no teleprompter, no notes, not reading, all coming from the heart. Now, could you imagine Obama doing that without professional speechwriters and the teleprompter? That's incredible. This man, solid speech, issue, and I agree with them all. I'm a Vietnam veteran, served 2 tours there before I woke up and realized my country was making a serious mistake. Nobody wants to say it. Vietnam veterans don't want to say it, but I'm here to tell you, my buddies who died, their lives were wasted. Nobody wants to say, oh, my country wasted people. They wasted people, and they wasted money, and then we never forwarded America's goals or the Vietnamese goals. You go there, you wake up one morning, the guy beside you died, and then you have to ask yourself, wait a minute, I could have died here, and I don't even know what the war is about. Do I believe in it? I don't know. My parents thought it was okay. My president says they need to go. I went to night school and learned Vietnamese. All of a sudden, I thought, how stupid can you be to maybe die for something you don't even know if you believe in it? And we're asking our boys in Afghanistan to do that, in Iraq. So why are we wasting money we don't have, borrowing money to be all over the world and trying to solve the world's problems? You know, we're deciding who's going to be the Shah of Iran, America supporting, who's going to be. It's not for us to say, but my country's doing it. Telling Iran, don't do as I do, do as I say. No nukes for you, but it's okay for me. BS. Then you're going to say, I'm a Christian, and you know. Even Ron Paul come out today saying what I've been saying for years. The golden rule, do unto others as you want them to do to you. The man believes it. Obama doesn't. If he believes it, he sure's not practicing it. So I'm here to do what I can, and I'm going to be captain of a precinct, and I'm going to take my message of Ron Paul, and if the rest of the world don't want to go, that's democracy. But I'm not going to sit at home and let somebody else make that decision when there's something I can do. So I'm going to the caucus, come hell or high water. If I'm sick or if the snow's this deep, I'm going to be there. Because this man knows how to use a veto pen. Congress hands him a bill that's not paid for, he'll hand it right back to him and say, nope, do it right or go back and do it again. I believe he will do that. Do I trust Obama to do that? Well, I don't need to go down the list. This man I believe in, he's got a voting record for how many years? You already see the pattern. You already see what he voted against. He's doing well in Iowa now when everybody wrote him off a long time ago. And man, what a kick it'll be for him if we can deliver Iowa. All I can promise is I'm going to do everything to deliver my precinct and leave it to everybody else to do their part too. I've called everybody in my precinct. I've dialed every phone number that's registered to vote. By God, I'm going to do what I can now to get the right man in there. I believe in this man. I don't believe in the rest of them. You know, Newt, here's a man who made millions of dollars lobbying against his country for Freddie Mac. Now he wants to lead the country. When he got rich, lobbying a program that should never have existed and didn't make any sense. It was illogical from the start. But yet, because he could make money, he supported a problem that nearly destroyed our country and took the housing bubble right on down the tube. What is the government doing? We got banks for that.
to do the risk assessment. If banks want to take out stupid loans, the bank falls, not my country. I like the man.
I think there's a lot of the other candidates are fooling people, and they tell stuff that what they have done is opposite from what they say. So I just don't go for that. Ron Paul, he says what he does and does what he says. I like that honesty.
Well, at least we feel when he says he supports the Constitution, we believe he's not fibbing, where the other guys and what they've done, you know that they're really not for the Constitution.
Yeah,
especially Newt.
Oh, man, I tell you, those guys, some of those guys are globalists. We are not for globalism at all. We're for America. There's Obama, which I do not agree with, and some of these other candidates are following the same shoes, even though they're Republicans, and I'm not for that.
And so you're not afraid of Iran right now?
No, I'm not. I think that we're overstepping our boundaries, and I think that we should do like Ron Paul says. I mean, if we're attacked by him, that's one thing, but if we just go in there to have war with him, forget it. And it's cost us money and lives. It's crazy.
Well, if he doesn't get in, we've done had it, I think.
Yeah, I think our country's gone. Ron Paul all the way.
Our military presence around the world, if it was a nation, it would be the fourth largest country in the world in the use of oil. Burn 360,000 barrels per day worldwide in our military presence. We spend over $1 trillion in the total expenditures. That is half of his reduction in the budget will come from reduced military spending. Not saying that we're not going to be defending our country, but we spend more as a country than the entire rest of the planet does on all of their military. But people fail to realize the government is us. And as he said, it's our responsibility to take back control of the government and not expect it to do for us what it never was supposed to do. The Constitution does not describe a government like we have today. It describes a much smaller one. And only Ron Paul is speaking to that issue. Only Ron Paul. You know, that's why his people, once they become understanding of that issue, they have no other candidate. Ron Paul has a distinct crossover. One of the main reasons I support Ron Paul is he will win the general election.
Yeah.
He will win the general election. They don't want to talk about that. They don't care who wins the election as long as it's Romney or Obama. The fat cats don't care. It's not going to make much difference. The difference will be made on social voting reasons, not real reasons that matter to us all. But if the conversation that will happen with Ron Paul as the general election nominee occurs, a growing swell of people will understand the truth of his message, and he will win in a landslide. I have no doubt about that. That's why they're working so hard to crush him here in Iowa, because once the steamroller goes, the toilet bowls are going to be emptied. You know, it's ridiculous to try to say that Ron Paul's victory here will damage Iowa's place. No, it will help restore America to the heartland that it once held high.